Welcome, I'm Rose Oatley.
And it's October.
Halloween month. So today we're gonna be making some delicious Halloween brownies.
Did I scare you? Keep watching, guys.
Alright, enough of my Halloween shenanigans. Hey guys, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be focusing more on the decorating part, so I will not be baking from scratch. We are just going to use Betty Crocker dark chocolate brownie mix. If you prefer to use your own brownies for this, feel free to do so. Today, I'm just doing it the quick way. However, I do have a brownie recipe from scratch that I will be posting at a later date, so be sure and subscribe below. Just follow your box directions. The box recipe calls for 2 eggs, 1/4 cup of water, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, and we'll take this to our mixer. Now we're going to be using a square pan, and you want to spray it with your baking spray. If you don't have any, you could use butter and flour. It's important to use something so your brownies don't stick. Let's go ahead and pour this in here, and then we're going to bake at 350 degrees for 30 minutes or until your brownies are done. Once your brownies are done, let them cool off and then cut them in squares. I've got my first brownie here, and I'm going to start with a ghost. Boo! I'm going to be using a jumbo marshmallow, but if you have the regular size, you can use that too. I just like the jumbo much better. And I'm also going to be using white frosting here. I have placed some in a bowl, and now I'm going to microwave it for 45 seconds. Just want to melt it a little or just get it to this consistency. I like using the frosting because it's nice and creamy and just perfect. All right, so now we're going to add a little bit of frosting on the bottom of the marshmallow. I want to use this as glue and then place it right in the center of the brownie. I'm going to mix my frosting just a little bit, and then we're going to pour this all on top. We want to make sure we get the whole marshmallow covered in frosting and let it drip down, guys. Then after, put it in the refrigerator so it can cool off. You don't want to decorate while it's hot, otherwise it'll bleed. Once cooled off, which doesn't really take long, you want to take some black frosting and a skewer or a toothpick, and I'm using the flat side here, and I'm going to be drawing some eyes on here. You could also use the googly eyes, but I wanted to show you, in case you don't have those, how you could do it just with frosting. And so you just kind of turn the skewer around and it'll make a little circle. Now this black frosting, I did not melt, so make sure you don't do that, otherwise it'll bleed. Now if you also have the black gel, you can go ahead and use that. I couldn't find that color today, so I'm just using frosting, which works fine. Next, I'm going to be drawing them out, so to make it easier, I have put frosting into a bag. You can use a Ziploc bag if you don't have one of the frosting bags and just cut the tip off.
Wait, did y'all see that? Was that a ghost?
And then just draw a letter O. Sorry, my hand was in the way, but you just basically draw a circle here. Now, if you already have googly eyes, I like adding that, which I'm going to be doing here. You can find that at any grocery store or at Michael's, Hobby Lobby. They all have them. Push them in just for a few seconds just to make sure they stay. Okay, for our second brownie, we're going to be making a mummy. So I'm going to be using the same white frosting that we just used. And we're just going to pour this on here. And we want to make sure we get a nice white base. Just frost it all over. To make our mummy, we're going to be using white frosting. This one is not melted. I have just put it in a bag with a small round tip. And then we're just going to be drawing lines back and forth all the way down. And you can just decorate it as you wish. Don't worry about the frosting falling over the sides. We'll wipe that in just a minute. For the sides, just take a butter knife and just scrape it off. And then you can wipe the rest with a paper towel. I have a few brown spots showing, so I'm going to go ahead and tilt my plate and then just add some more frosting on here. And if any falls on the plate, just wipe it off with a paper towel. I'm going to be using the same eyes I used on my ghost. I picked these up at Michael's, and I'm going to go ahead and put both eyes on here. If you'd like, you can go over with some black frosting and add a little line on the bottom for our mouth. For our third brownie, we're going to be covering this up in green frosting, which I have placed in my microwave for about 20 seconds. And I just want to get this all nice and frosted. And honestly, I'm not sure what I'm making. Sometimes I just go with the flow because that's how I roll. My brownie is frosted and I'm going to be using these cool bloody eyes that I found at Michael's. Now you can make your own with black and white frosting and red gel for the blood, but today I'm going to use these. This red sparkle gel, I'm going to use as blood. So I'm going to make his eyes look like they're bleeding over since his eyes are already bloody. You have to just play with it and see what looks good to you. All right, this is kind of a funky monster. Let's add a little more blood to it. Moving on to our fourth brownie, I think this one's actually my favorite. And I'm going to start by making some green frosting. And I'm using the creamy white frosting because I just think it's so much better, so much more creamier than the one in the tube. And you just add a few drops of your food coloring, and so we can come up with a nice green base. I'm going to add a few more drops in here, get this all mixed in, and this looks pretty good. We're going to be using a marshmallow, so again, we want to add a little bit of frosting on the bottom to use as glue, and then we're going to center that right in the brownie. I melted the green frosting for about 45 seconds. Now I'm going to pour it all on top, making sure everything gets covered in green. And I've got a paper towel here because my bowl got pretty hot, guys, so be careful. You also want to refrigerate this one so it can cool off. Once cool, I'm going to add some ice. Using black frosting, not melted, I'm going to attempt to make a Frankenstein mouth. You can also use the little tube with gel if you can find black. Again, I'm sorry about my hand, but you just want to draw a line kind of like at an angle, and then just draw little lines going down all the way across. Now let's get some black hair on him. So I'm just going to go up and down here, kind of making some like loops or points. And then we're just going to fill all that in. I'm going to squeeze some frosting up top so that I can fill it in. Another idea for hair is to use crushed Oreo cookies. You can spread the top part with a butter knife and then just squeeze in some frosting on the sides to fill in. After we're done with all of them, please make sure to let me know which one was your favorite down below in the comments section. I want to know. I'm thinking about adding a little stitch here on the side, and hopefully I won't ruin it. For my next brownie, I have a small piece here, and I'm going to be adding some black frosting. We're going to spread this all over. Now, if you have a round cookie cutter, I would recommend you make a round circle. I think it would just look so much better. But I'm going to just work with this one here. I'm going to be making a spider, but I just had an idea to put a spider web on the bottom, so let me go back. But first, let's add some eyes right in the front. So here I have already started making the web. Started with a cross and then made an X. And then now I'm just adding loops around. You want to add different layers of that. And I'm sorry that I did not record from the beginning. I accidentally didn't hit record. And I guess that sometimes happens. All right, so let's continue with our loops. And don't worry if they're not perfect. A spider web is never perfect. Now I'm going to add my spider back right in the center. We want to go in and draw our legs. We need 8 legs, and don't use a black plate like I did here because you won't be able to see them. I'm going to have to go back in and do another color later. I'm going to go in and just draw a dot on each leg at the end. See if maybe that makes a difference. Let's make this a black widow spider, and black widows always have a red mark in the back, so let's go ahead and mark the spot right in the back. I'm going to attempt to add 2 fangs in the front. Okay, I made some gray frosting, and I'm going to go over the legs to see if you can see them a little better. For our next brownie, I'm going to be making a tombstone, and I'm going to take my gray frosting and I'm just going to frost the whole thing. Now, I went ahead and added some yellow food coloring and some black frosting that I had into a little bit of white, and I mixed it all together and came up with this gray. So let's go ahead and spread this all on here. Let's try and add RIP, rest in peace, in black. I'm going to see if I can stand this up on here. Nope, it doesn't look like it's going to work. Let me go ahead and shave off some of the bottom. Let's cut a piece. I ended up cutting this at an angle so it could stand better, but I'm still a little scared that it might tip over. So I'm going to add a small piece of brownie in the back to kind of hold it up a little. I'm also going to change the RIP to white. Much better. I went and crushed an Oreo, and now I'm adding it around the tombstone to make it look like dirt.
Dirt bag.
Maybe a little bit of blood on the bottom.
Like this video, hit the like button, and come back for more. Happy Halloween.
If you haven't already subscribed, please be sure to do so below or hit my little picture on the side. Also, don't forget to hit the little bell to get notified of all of my new videos, and please be sure to check out these links on the side.
Share with your friends. Thanks for watching and your support.